Right, welcome back to another brew day. Today I'm brewing up a pale ale. This one has Simcoe and Amarillo in, so pretty heavy on the Simcoe and Amarillo. Fairly straightforward grain bill. This one has, well, let's start with the batch size actually. So it's a 20 litre batch. Brew in a bag as I do normally. For 20 litres I've got 4.23 kilograms of fermentables. So that is made up of 3.5 kilos of crisp, clear choice pale ale malt. Any pale ale malt will do, I guess. So that's 82.7% of the total grist. I've got 500 grams of light Munich malt, which makes up 11.8%, and the rest 5.4% is carapils, so that's 230 grams. So 3.5 kilograms of pale ale malt, essentially 500 grams of light Munich malt and 230 grams of carapils, 20 litre bag. So yeah, if you want to kind of try and do a similar thing, obviously scale it to your brewing system. The hops I'm going to be using, as I said, are Simcoe and Amarillo. So I was quite excited to get my hands on some of the latest harvest of both of these. So this is the 2023 harvest of Amarillo and Simcoe. So I've got these from Crossmyloof. I've got the 2023 harvest of a few different hops, the American hops like Citra and Amarillo and Simcoe and all the big hitters. So quite excited to get this brew on, and I'm sure these are going to be absolutely banging. I'm going to try and make the most out of these by using them all in very late on. In fact, the hop schedule basically is I'm going to do a 30-minute boil. 10 grams of Simcoe is going in at 30 minutes, and then that's pretty much it until the hop stand. So I'm going to do a 30-minute hop stand with 50 grams each of Amarillo and Simcoe at 80 degrees. So that's it pretty much on the hot side, and then the rest of it is going in the dry hop for 40 grams each of these in the dry hop for probably 3 to 4 days. So I'll chuck it in on day 9 I think and leave it in there for a few days. So this should be super juicy, super hoppy, all the great things you get from these fantastic hops. Grapefruit, passion fruit, it says for Simcoe, floral, citrus and orange from the Amarillo. Love the sort of pungency you get from the Amarillo. Really enjoyed the beers I've brewed with that recently, and Simcoe obviously is going to give it a lovely, nice, piney grapefruit, passion fruity edge to it as well. So really looking forward to it. The weather is finally turning, getting a little bit of spring sunshine coming out, so this is going to be a perfect beer for sitting out in the back garden and enjoying in sunshine. So that is the plan. I am using Mangrove Jack's M44 US West Coast yeast. So yeah, that's going to give me a super clean flavour. As it says here, ideal to bring out the hop character in the beer. So we're expecting a nice kind of hoppy pale ale. The Munich's going to give it a little bit more sort of complexity, maltiness as well. So really looking forward to this. I've got high hopes. I think it's going to be an absolute banger. 4.7% is what I'm aiming at. It might come out a little bit sort of higher depending on. I seem to have been more efficient for some reason recently in my brewing bag. So I'm expecting kind of 4.7, 4.9, maybe around the 5% mark. Depends as well how this ferments out. Brewfather tells me that this actually attenuates at 85%. So when I put that in Brewfather, it actually predicts the finishing gravity at something like 1.006 or 7 or something like that, super dry. I don't think it's going to get that far. I'm mashing quite high as well, so I'm mashing at 68 degrees. So I would expect this to probably finish more like at 10-10. So be interested to see what the final gravity is on this. I'm going to ferment for 2 weeks. As I say, dry hop on day 9 probably. And that's it. Water profile wise, I'm using spotless water, so that's reverse osmosis water, and I just used the American Pale Ale profile in Brewfather to tell me what additions to put in. So yeah, that's pretty straightforward as well. And that's it. There's nothing else to say about it really. Colour 11 EBC, so maybe slightly on the darker side of pale ale, or getting there. It's not going to be super light, hopefully. And IBUs, so I'm shooting for 35 IBUs. So that's it. All right, so I've already got the grains mashing at the moment. When I bring that up to the boil, as I said, I'm doing a 30-minute boil and 10 grams of Simcoe going in at the start, then the hop stand. So nice, easy, straightforward brew. And I shall see you at the end for the tasting. Cheers. Here it is. So it's been in the keg about 6 weeks. First time using gelatin salts or crystals, and yeah, I just kind of dissolved about a teaspoon in some boiling hot water, poured that into the keg before I racked on top of it. Obviously I purged it before racking, and did a really good job actually. It was clear within probably about a week. There's a bit of condensation on this glass, but hopefully you can see it's crystal clear. It's a nice golden colour, and yeah, pretty pleased with the appearance. So it's actually finished at 1008, so actually Brewfather was pretty correct in predicting final gravity. I think it said 107, 108, something like that. So yeah, it's sort of finished a little bit lower than I was expecting. So yeah, appearance wise, pretty bang on. Aroma, let's how we're going with the aroma. So really delivers on the citrus, grapefruit, passion fruit, bit of pine in there, like sweet orange, nice sort of that floral pungency that you get from the Amarillo. So yeah, really delivering on exactly what I was hoping for. So aroma wise, spot on. Taste wise, really, really good. Just the right amount of bitterness for me. The hops are really coming through. There's a nice sort of kind of almost like candy sweetness coming from, I don't know, maybe the Amarillo or Simcoe. But it's a real nice, tasty, aromatic beer. I think the malt bill has worked really well. Definitely be using that again. And really pleased with the outcome of this. It's nice sort of like dryness as well, so you kind of want to go in for another sip again, which yeah, put down to the yeast presumably. And yeah, so worked out really well. I think this beer is one of those beers where kind of all of the stars just align perfectly for you. Not all my beers turn out as well as this one has, and this has certainly turned out to be quite a crowd pleaser, if you like. So I had a barbecue a few weeks ago, and someone came around that is an exclusive Foster's sort of macro lager drinker, doesn't tend to drink anything else, and they said that this was the nicest beer that they've ever tried. So I took that as a massive compliment. And I also took some on a camping trip. I went on with a few mates. We went to France for a few days, and I bottled some, pop bottles full off the keg, and took that. And one of the guys there said it was the nicest beer he'd ever tasted as well. So I don't know, maybe they've just been drinking terrible beer for all their lives up until this point. But this has really turned it into a real sort of crowd pleaser. So really happy with how this one turned out, and I'll definitely be brewing it again, maybe with a different hop combination. So yeah, if you've got any suggestions for absolute killer hop combos, then yeah, let me know in the comments below. Just as a spoiler alert, my next pale I'm sort of planning a hazy pale. I'm using Citra, Mosaic and Galaxy in equal measures. So don't suggest that one, because I'm already going to be using that one on my next brew. But yeah, I would definitely recommend it, 100%. It's one of the best beers I think I've ever made. As I say, I don't know whether that was more luck than judgment, and everything just kind of slotted into position. Stars aligned to make this beer, and it's a cracker. So really pleased, and beautiful beer to be drinking on a nice hot summer's day. Not that many of those are predicted for the UK this year, but I'm going to be making the most of it anyway. So cheers everyone.